You clicked on this video for a reason. You're about to receive a message that doesn't show up by chance. And if you let it in, you'll understand why this exact moment chose you. You weren't supposed to stop here, but you did. And that tiny hesitation, that moment you almost scrolled away, that was no accident. Because sometimes the universe doesn't whisper through numbers or dreams, it interrupts your scroll. Not through lightning bolts or grand miracles, but through this. You were meant to pause here because something you've been ignoring is about to find you. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Right now, you're standing in the part of your journey that breaks 90% of people. This isn't the exciting chapter. It's not the breakthrough, the glow-up, or the moment everything makes sense. This is the middle, the part where it feels like nothing's moving, like life's on pause. But that's the trick. This is the test, hidden, in plain sight. The moment that decides who keeps walking and who turns back. You've probably felt it, that quiet voice saying, maybe it's not working. But what if this is the part that decides everything? Because if you can stay steady here, if you can hold your energy when it feels like there's no reward yet, you'll walk into something most people never reach. And that's exactly where this is leading. That little voice that told you to scroll away a minute ago, that wasn't you. That was the part of you that's terrified of what happens when you actually change. The old self doesn't disappear quietly. It clings to what's familiar, even when it's uncomfortable. It loves the loops, the habits, the distractions, because those things keep it alive. Right now, you're standing between two versions of yourself, the one that wants comfort and the one that wants evolution. Every time you hesitate before watching something like this, it's because a deeper part of you already knows listening means transforming. And transformation is something the ego cannot control. The mind will tell you, you've heard this before. It'll whisper, this is just another video. But that's exactly how the cycle repeats. The resistance you feel right now, that's not a sign to turn away, it's a sign that you're right on the edge. Resistance is the final defense before breakthrough. Every time you feel that internal pushback, that urge to tune out, that's when something new is trying to emerge. The ego calls it discomfort. The soul calls it activation. You can't grow without feeling the pull between who you were and who you're becoming. So if part of you is restless, distracted, or doubting, that's the proof. You're not stuck. You're just in the moment, right before things shift. If you could see what's forming behind the scenes for you, you'd stop worrying immediately. You'd laugh at how close you are to what you've been asking for. You'd realize that nothing's been lost, everything's been rearranging. October isn't a month of endings. It's a month of setups. The energy right now is like a chessboard being positioned for your next move. It looks quiet, maybe even dull, but that's because all the pieces are still shifting into alignment. The universe doesn't rush alignment. It perfects it. What you've been waiting for, the clarity, the opportunity, the peace, it's already circling your field. You just can't see it yet because it's still arriving in disguise. The people you meet, the random thoughts that come to mind, even the delays, they're all part of this setup. You might feel like nothing's happening, but something is always happening when you feel that way. Stillness isn't emptiness, it's preparation. Patience isn't waiting, it's trusting the build-up. And here's the part most people miss. The energy that's been testing you this month has been fine-tuning you for what's coming next. The version of you that survives this quiet chapter will be the one that receives what's already written for you. Something beautiful is coming, and it'll make all of this make sense. There's a strange silence that shows up right before everything changes, and most people mistake it for nothingness. The truth is, this is one of the most powerful energetic phases you can experience. The calm that feels like a standstill isn't lifeless. It's the build-up before ignition. Your life isn't paused. It's buffering miracles behind the scenes right now. It might feel like your energy isn't landing anywhere. You're doing the work, showing up, thinking positive, waiting for the universe to give a sign. And yet it feels like radio static. No signal, no progress, no spark. That's what I call the dead air of spiritual progress. The space between two frequencies where it feels like nothing's broadcasting. But in reality, something massive is being tuned in. The universe works in compression and release. It tightens before expansion. It hides movement inside stillness. The same way an arrow has to be pulled back before it launches forward, your energy right now is being pulled into alignment before it accelerates. The tension you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. But this is also the stage where most people sabotage their next breakthrough. They start doubting the silence, forcing movement, trying to make something happen just to feel in control. But when you do that, you break the flow right before it clicks. Don't mistake quiet energy for absence. It's the sound of momentum taking shape. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the biggest moments of change in your life arrived out of nowhere? You weren't expecting them. You were probably bored, lost, or convinced nothing was happening. And then suddenly, everything did. That's because progress doesn't announce itself. It disguises itself as stagnation to test your patience and faith. Today holds that same frequency, that quiet stretch that feels like limbo, but is actually a spiritual springboard. The pressure that's been building inside you, the urge to move, the discomfort of waiting, it's not there to frustrate you, it's there to strengthen your foundation. The universe is aligning details, timing, and people in ways you can't yet see. So if you feel like nothing's moving, remind yourself, the arrow is pulled back longest before the farthest flight. Don't release too soon. Don't quit before the signal returns. The silence before change isn't the end. It's the inhale before the exhale of miracles. You're not supposed to feel ready, you're supposed to begin anyway. There's this myth that clarity comes before action, that the universe hands you a perfect roadmap before you move. But that's never how it works. Readiness isn't a feeling you wait for, it's something you create through motion. The path doesn't reveal itself until your feet are already moving. Most people spend years preparing for a right time that never arrives. They want signs, validation, a clear plan, the right mindset, but that's all fear disguised as logic. The truth is, the energy of October doesn't support waiting anymore. It's designed to push you out of hesitation and into trust. Readiness is not comfort, it's surrender. You've already been prepared by every challenge you've faced this year, every disappointment, every delay, every redirection. They weren't detours, they were strength training for your intuition. You've gathered enough lessons, enough pain, enough clarity to start. You don't need to be fixed or flawless to begin. You just need to trust the pull that keeps returning. Think about how many things you've talked yourself out of, thinking you weren't ready. Every dream, every idea, every impulse that lit you up, and then the mind came in with reasons to wait. But here's the thing. You'll never think your way into alignment. You act your way into it. The energy aligns around movement, not contemplation. So if you're hesitating today, take it as a sign that the universe is done letting you stall. Hesitation is the ego's last attempt to delay destiny. You've been walking in circles long enough, rehearsing instead of living. The universe doesn't reward endless preparation. It rewards trust in motion. Start messy, start uncertain, start scared, but start. Because when you move, even slightly, everything around you rearranges to meet that decision. You're not waiting for alignment anymore, you are the alignment. You've carried it this whole time without realizing it. And the moment you act on that, even in the smallest way, you'll feel it. The air shifts, the weight lifts, and life starts responding again. That's how you'll know the silence has ended. You don't realize how much strength it takes just to do what you've been doing. To wake up and face the same weight again. To show up to life without the applause, without the energy, without anyone really seeing what you're carrying. People love to talk about breakthroughs and success, but no one ever talks about the courage it takes to keep going when you're quietly falling apart. You woke up and kept going today, and that matters. That one act, that simple choice, is the silent proof that your spirit hasn't given up. You've been moving through emotions that never got a name, holding it together in moments where most people would have let go. And maybe it doesn't feel like much. Maybe you think your progress isn't visible enough to count. But that's because you've mistaken survival for stagnation, when in truth, this is you rebuilding from the inside. You're not lazy, you're tired from carrying things no one else can see. You've been fighting battles that don't make it to conversation, the mental noise, the constant self-doubt, the endless push to stay grounded when everything feels uncertain. The reason you're exhausted isn't because you're doing too little, it's because you've been doing too much emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the kind of work no one gives credit for. You've had to grow in silence, heal while pretending to be fine. Keep faith when there was nothing tangible to hold on to. That's not weakness, that's a different level of endurance. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean it isn't happening. Some growth only reveals itself in hindsight. So, take this moment today to stop underestimating yourself. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're not off track. You're just human, evolving in ways that can't always be measured. And if you could step outside of your timeline for just a second and see yourself the way the universe sees you, you'd be proud of how far you've come without even realizing it. Give yourself permission to rest without guilt. Let yourself breathe without feeling like you're wasting time. You don't need to earn rest. You need to remember it's part of the process. You're not failing. You're just tired from fighting battles that matter. And the fact that you're still here, still pushing, still listening, says everything. The world needs to know about your strength. There's something stirring again, something you thought was gone for good. It might not be clear yet, but it's there, quietly resurfacing beneath the surface. That spark, that peace, that joy you used to feel but couldn't access for so long, it never left you. It just sank deeper, waiting for the noise to calm, so it could return stronger. It didn't disappear. It just went underground to grow stronger. For a while, it probably felt like life stripped away everything that made you feel alive. The things that used to light you up started feeling distant, unreachable. The emotions that used to flow effortlessly became hard to even remember. And it's easy to think that once something fades like that, it's gone forever. But what if it was never gone? What if it was only resting until you were ready to feel it again without losing yourself in it? Everything in nature moves in cycles, expansion, contraction, renewal. The same applies to your energy. Your peace, your love, your passion, they all move in waves. When you go through a long season of numbness, it's not because you've lost your magic, it's because life has been resetting your capacity to feel. Absence is not loss, it's preparation for depth. Something you thought was broken is repairing itself quietly right now. The sense of direction you lost is aligning again. The joy you stopped expecting is finding its way back through small, unremarkable moments. The lightness you've been missing will return, but not in the same way. It'll return matured, grounded, deeper, more unshakable than before. Think about it. You've been through so much, and yet something inside you never let go. That part of you that still believes, still hopes, still tries, that's proof the flame never went out. The fact that you're here, listening, open to messages like this, means your energy is ready to receive again. You're coming back to life, slowly but surely, in ways you can't measure day by day. Nothing real ever disappears, it only transforms. So if you've been feeling numb, uninspired, or detached, don't mistake that for the end. It's just the clearing before the return. Life has a way of bringing back everything meant for you once you've grown strong enough to hold it differently. And when that moment comes, when that lost part of you finally returns, it won't feel like a miracle out of nowhere. It'll feel like remembering who you've always been. Avoidance is the quiet thief of transformation. It doesn't crash in dramatically, it sneaks up through distraction, procrastination, and overthinking. Every time you delay what your soul is calling for, you silently agree to stay the same. It feels safe, even logical, but it's how growth gets postponed one day at a time. Avoidance is the art of slowly burying your potential under comfort. It's not laziness, it's self-protection. The ego avoids what might change it, because once you step into something new, the old version of you can't return. So it builds stories. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not ready yet. But tomorrow becomes next week, and soon the loop becomes a life pattern. Life keeps repeating the lesson you avoid until you face it with open eyes. The moment you recognize avoidance, it starts to lose its grip. Awareness breaks the trance. That single second when you notice yourself scrolling instead of acting, or holding back instead of speaking, that's the beginning of freedom. Awareness is the doorway where avoidance becomes awakening. Change doesn't start with giant leaps. It starts with small, conscious choices. Every time you do one thing your old self would have resisted, finishing that task, saying what you mean, staying present instead of escaping, you rewire your reality. Discomfort stops feeling like danger and starts feeling like expansion. Avoidance promises safety, but it only delays alignment. The truth is, you don't need a sign to start. This is your sign. The same loops that once trapped you can't survive awareness. All you have to do is stop running, even for a moment, and meet what's in front of you. Because the second you do, life stops avoiding you too. Somewhere along the way, we were convinced that life is a race, that if we're not there yet, we're already late. We compare our timeline to everyone else's and wonder why theirs looks faster, shinier, more successful. But the truth is, you're not behind. You're just living on a rhythm that's completely your own. Time isn't running out, your ego is just impatient. The universe doesn't deal in deadlines, it deals in alignment. Every delay, every pause, every detour is part of a hidden synchronization. What looks like waiting is often the moment everything around you is quietly rearranging to meet you halfway. You're not being held back, you're being perfectly timed. The universe doesn't reward urgency, it rewards readiness. Your path can't be rushed because it's not a straight line, it's a spiral. You circle back, you relearn, you refine. Each time you repeat a lesson, it's not failure, it's evolution with more awareness. You're not starting over, you're starting higher. So if you've been feeling like you're late to your own life, breathe. The things meant for you aren't waiting on speed. They're waiting on your readiness. Divine timing isn't punishing you, it's protecting you. You're not here to meet a deadline, you're here to meet your destiny. And when everything finally clicks, you'll see you were never behind. You were right on time, all along. Somewhere along the way, society decided that strength means pretending everything's fine. That if you're quiet, if you pull back, if you need space, then something must be wrong with you. But silence doesn't always mean sadness. Sometimes it means protection. Sometimes it's the soul saying, I need to gather myself before I pour again. You don't need to explain why you're not smiling. You're surviving, and that's valid. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you haven't been as social, as responsive, as bright. You don't owe anyone a performance of peace while you're rebuilding it. Healing is messy and non-linear, and sometimes it looks like disappearing for a while. The world glorifies productivity and progress, but it rarely celebrates the quiet battles, the nights you talk yourself out of giving up, the mornings you get up anyway, the days you protect your energy instead of performing for others. People don't realize how heavy it is to constantly justify your own stillness, to feel guilty for needing rest, or for no longer fitting into the version of yourself people got used to. You're not supposed to be available to everyone all the time. You're supposed to be with yourself sometimes, in silence, in stillness, in sacred distance. Pulling back isn't avoidance, it's preservation. And maybe lately, you've been doing just that, preserving what's left of your peace. Maybe you haven't had the words or the energy or the excitement. Maybe you felt invisible. But invisibility doesn't mean insignificance. You're still here, still moving, still doing the deep work of existing through everything that tried to break you. Some seasons are not about blooming. They're about breathing. If no one has told you lately, you're allowed to rest. You're allowed to protect your energy without guilt. You're allowed to say no to conversations that drain you, people who misunderstand you, or expectations that feel too heavy to carry right now. You don't have to keep proving you're okay just to make others comfortable. When you stop apologizing for your survival, you start healing for real. Because the truth is, you've already overcome more than you talk about. You've already made it through days that once felt impossible. And yet, here you are, not perfect, not finished, but still present. That's not weakness, that's endurance. You're not behind because you slowed down. You're alive because you did. So today, let yourself breathe without justification. Let yourself exist without explanation. The people who truly see you will never need you to perform your healing. They'll just honor it. You've earned your peace, and you don't owe anyone the story of how you survived to deserve it. Lately, there's this collective heaviness in the air, that quiet exhaustion that makes you want to shut everything off and disappear. You might be feeling like you've hit your limit, like the goals don't inspire you anymore, like you've been holding on for too long, waiting for something to finally click, and it just hasn't. You might even be thinking, what's the point anymore? But here's the truth most people miss. This isn't burnout. It's not a lack of motivation. It's not you failing at being spiritual or disciplined or positive. It's your soul getting bored of waiting. Your soul doesn't quit when it's tired. It rebels when it's ready to expand. When you've done the inner work for so long, when you've waited patiently for your moment, your energy starts to feel trapped between what was and what's coming. That trapped energy feels like frustration. it feels like emptiness. But in reality, it's momentum building in disguise. What you're feeling isn't the end, it's the build-up right before the release. The moment before everything changes always looks like this is pointless. Today, especially, is a perfect trap. The energy is quiet enough to make you doubt yourself, but charged enough to push you toward a choice. Give in to the illusion of nothingness, or trust that something's rearranging beneath the surface. This is the day when the universe hides its progress from you to see if you'll give up before it delivers. You've probably been noticing it. Things feel slow, conversations feel repetitive. Your excitement flickers in and out. You start questioning everything, your purpose, your timing, even the point of trying. That's the test. That's how the shift disguises itself. It wears the mask of apathy to see if you'll anchor into faith without evidence. A test of faith never looks like fire, it looks like boredom. Your soul isn't tired of the dream, it's tired of the waiting room. It's tired of being ready and not seeing results yet. But this is where most people quit, right before the momentum breaks through. Because right before the manifestation comes the void, that dense, shapeless energy that feels like everything's gone still. It's the universe holding its breath before exhaling change into your reality. When you feel like walking away from everything, it's usually because your energy is outgrowing the container it's been in. The life you've built so far can't hold what's coming next, so it starts to feel cramped, uncomfortable, lifeless. The soul interprets that as restlessness, but it's actually evolution. You're shedding the vibration that got you here so you can make room for what's waiting to arrive. This isn't the end of your chapter, it's the blank page before the plot twist. You're not quitting, you're transitioning. You're not breaking down, you're recalibrating. The boredom, the confusion, the emotional fatigue, they're not signs of failure, they're signs of completion. You've already absorbed the lesson of this phase, and now your energy is craving something new. But before that new level begins, life pauses. It gives you this quiet, dull stretch to decide, will you spiral into doubt or hold steady and trust what you can't yet see? The truth is, the universe hides the breakthrough behind the impulse to quit. Because if you can keep walking through this stage, the silent one, the still one, the one that feels like it's mocking your effort, you'll cross into the reality that's been waiting for you. You don't need to fight harder, you just need to not walk away. This day might feel empty, but it's not. It's loaded with potential disguised as stillness. Every time you choose not to give up, every time you breathe through the temptation to surrender, the universe quietly rearranges another piece in your favor. You're not stuck. You're being positioned. You're not tired of life. You're just standing in the doorway of your next chapter, waiting for the light to turn on. And it will. Because endings always disguise themselves as exhaustion, right before everything begins again. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.